So I'm Jeff Napolitano, and I am the Associate Director of Field Education for the Counseling Psychology Department. So I basically oversee the field placement process for students in the general counseling track and in the forensic and counseling tracks, which basically means that I work with both incoming students and then current students to help them identify placements that are a good match for their training needs. And then if there are any problems that arose or if there were any guidance that they needed around field placement, I would be the point person for that. I mean, one of the things that drew me to MSPP was the fact that there's an experiential education model. So all students throughout their training are engaged both in classroom academic work as well as field work. And I think for training in this field, that's really important because I think that you can only learn so much by being taught or through discussion in a classroom setting, that you really have to have hands-on experience in different settings with a wide range of patients to really become adept and comfortable clinically and able to function as a clinician after graduating. So we basically, when students are accepted into the program, they receive a letter from me, and that outlines the field placement process. And then once they receive the letter, they make contact with me, and then I talk with them about what their interests are and talk with them about the range of different placements that exist. I think unlike some schools where students are kind of placed in a particular facility, we don't really approach it in that way. So I think that we really try to work with people in an individualized way and match them with a placement that really will meet their needs and training goals. So. I think that is something that's, there's a lot of attention paid to that, and I think it's very much infused in the curriculum, so it's not, my sense is, even though I don't really teach, that it's not like there's one course on multicultural issues as much as there's attention to issues of diversity that are kind of infused throughout the curriculum. And I think that we also, in the process of recruiting training sites, always try to be mindful of that and talk with sites about their attention to diversity issues and try to offer students sites working with different, wide range of different populations to meet their needs. In order to be trained have sound training as a counselor is to really be mindful of and respectful of individual differences and kind of the subjectivity of human experience. So I think that part of our aim in terms of the education and in terms of the field experiences is to offer people experiences that enable them to have exposure to people who may have very different experiences from what they've had, but also to help them to look at themselves in the process, so to kind of facilitate self-awareness and be mindful of how one's own experience and biases and all of that can potentially interfere in the counseling process. So I think it's partly about being educated about how to kind of try to step into another person's shoes and sort of put some of your perspective and biases aside so that you can really get a sense of what their world is like, I guess. Well, I think it seems like part of the mission, isn't it, around personal growth? Because that's what I was sort of getting at, I guess, is just that I think there's a real, I think in this field and in the training, I think part of being an effective counselor is really paying attention to the kind of the intersection of the professional and the personal. And I think being effective in this role requires a person to really have self-awareness and be self-reflective and to look at themselves in the process. And I think that's really critical. So.